Hi, my name is James Lee.
This is uranium, a big deal for a small rock. This presentation will introduce a book by Tom Zoellner, discuss how the book describes this wondrous rock, and also talk about some of the ways this rock has affected global connections in the world today. The book is Uranium, War, Energy, and the Rock That Shaped the World.
It describes Tom's travels to find out about this rock and its roots.
So, what is uranium, and why is it so important to us today? Uranium is an element that's atoms are very unstable and can be split to produce large amounts of energy.
This is known as nuclear energy. It can be used to produce power and to produce very powerful nuclear weapons. It is said that one atom of uranium can move a grain of sand.
A small sphere of uranium can move a whole city. This small rock can pack a powerful punch. Over and over again, the book mentions that everyone who found the uranium rock originally called it a bad luck rock. It was perceived to be useless. It was found and simply thrown aside when mining for silver and other materials. As time went on, it was realized by scientists that even though this creation of energy by uranium atoms was a good thing, bad things can also come out of this discovery.
The nickname Bad Luck Rock may still hold to be valid. It wasn't until small amounts of radium were found in the rock that uranium even became of interest to scientists.
Once the discovery of nuclear energy was made, the rock was greatly sought after, but means of getting this rock were rarely diplomatic.
Tom's first story, I find, is the most interesting one he speaks of. It lays out the idea that diplomacy will not be able to completely control nuclear energy and weapons.
He speaks about a place in Africa he went to called Shinkolabwe. Shinkolabwe is one of the biggest uranium ore deposits, and at that time it was thought to be the only one. The people there talked to Tom about this place.
They tell him that the place is haunted and can make you sick. Evidently, a ghost haunts the place and consumes human souls to keep herself strong.
When people go to this place, they are said to either not come back or get very sick. Tom speaks with a man who says he can show them where the mines are. Also, for a payment, he can get them past a few security checkpoints. As they work their way toward the mines, they are too busy looking at the landscape, people, and other things they see along the way. They didn't even realize till they walked up to the mines. They hadn't seen hardly anyone or gone through any security to get there. They just walked right in. This is ironic because something that is supposed to be so important and dangerous should be cared for, respected, and protected. Tom tells in other parts of the book about how the mines are illegally mined simply because the guards themselves sell themselves off to the illegal miners. Uranium mining has just as big an underground aspect as any illegal drug or weapon. A man by the name of Abdul Qadir Khan was a large contributor to the underground nuclear activity.
He is a perfect example about how such a great thing as nuclear energy can have such a negative effect on the world.
Khan is a Pakistani nuclear scientist. He was the founder of Pakistan's atomic bomb project, and he also founded research laboratories and was known as one of Pakistan's top scientists. He was accused of spreading knowledge about nuclear activity in other countries and was debriefed by his country on request of the United States with evidence. Khan claimed that he was giving out information that it wasn't in enough detail to make a difference, but it was known that he had received money offers for very valuable information that he possessed. Though his country found him to still be a worthy citizen of his country, the United States still lists him as a serious proliferation risk.
The nations of Latin America and the Caribbean drafted a treaty together to prevent the use of nuclear weapons in that region of the world.
This treaty came into force in 1968 and was the first time a ban was put in place over such a large populated area. It is so impressive that these nations care so much about the well-being of their people and their land that they would give up the greed and power of nuclear energy and weapons. All of Africa does not have nuclear activity. Australia, South America, and Antarctica as well. As you can see by this map, there is still a lot of the world that goes without nuclear energy or weapons, either by choice or force. The areas in blue are nuclear free. The zones in red are areas with nuclear weapons. The areas in yellow have nuclear power but no nuclear weapons. The areas in orange have shared nuclear energy.
When talking about nuclear weapons today, unfortunately, Iran has to come into discussion.
Of late, the nation of Iran has stepped outside of its allowed abilities and has pursued its want for nuclear weapons. The UN has told them many times they are not allowed to do so, but continue to test missiles and reactors without hesitation. Beginning from the 60s, the US has helped and supported the use of nuclear energy in Iran. In the 70s, the US backed a plan to construct up to 20 nuclear power stations across the country. Throughout this time, the nation of Iran has signed and ratified several treaties giving them strict access to use nuclear energy as a power source and not a weapon. We gave them training, materials, and most importantly, we gave them support and trust. This continued throughout the 90s and into the 2000s. More countries stepped in to ensure the use and evolution of nuclear power in Iran. Suspicion of their attempt at creating an atomic bomb began in the 2000s and continued until the 2003, where nations were demanding that Iran halt their nuclear program. Iran was not happy with this and claimed it was irreversible. Years of threats to Iran have gone on up through today. It is now known that Iran is definitely trying to develop nuclear weapons and they are no longer going to hide it. Just recently, a rocket was tested and broke apart shortly after takeoff. They have basically told the world that they are going to do this whether we like it or not. They also have said that if anyone attacks them because of this, they will attack back with twice the force. Uranium is something that is so simple, but can make life so complicated. Something that was seen as useless for years is now one of the most important, powerful, and corrupt rocks we know of today.
Uranium is something that can potentially change the world for the better. But behind this amazing occurrence in nature is something that can potentially end the world. See ya.